some motivation messages, and one that struck me was that the greatest part of living on earth is not when you are failing, but when you rise from failure. And after listening to this song, I only told myself that, look, it's going to be well for me and my family. I believe it's going to be well for you and your family. All you have to do is to have a positive mind, irrespective of the provocations, irrespective of the difficulties. Stand firm and pray, and I believe that with God, you will succeed. That's how I want to welcome you to Morning Update today. I am Erica Hianyo, and I always welcome you to our show with this lady.
And I'm Nana Abena Sewa. Now, this morning, we will take some newspaper headlines as always, and then we'll take the newspaper review. And later on in the show, just as we do always, Wisdom would bring us detailed of the stories or the headlines that we will be discussing. Also, you know, there is a very particular segment that discusses topical issues, which is the one that I chair. And if you heard of the Okada situation during the pre-campaign elections, then you would want to know more or know what has happened so far. So today, stick with us because there's so much that we will be discussing that interests you and interests me as well. Also, this show is brought to you by X Natural Mineral Water, and you know that the body needs about 60% of water in order to help it perform physical and mental activities. And like I say always, X Natural Mineral Water has got you covered, so do not worry at all. If you are looking into distribution, then you can call the numbers that we'll be putting on the screen soon.
Yes, of course. Today, you know, a lot of things are happening. Parliament has suspended, and the reason is simple. More MPs have COVID. I'm told about 17 of them, and over 150 parliamentary staff also have it. And so yesterday, the Speaker of Parliament said they are going to be on break for 3 weeks with the hope that by that time, all those who are sick would have been well or been treated. And more so, the House can then come back and be sure that none of the members will continue the spread. Apart from that, the Appointments Committee of Parliament is beginning the vetting of MPs today. And so we'll be giving you some conversation on what your expectations are. And don't forget, you can always join this conversation by sending us your text, and then the screens will show the numbers from time to time so that you can send them to us. And I also want to remind you that this morning's segment with Abena will be quite exciting. You know, during the 2020 elections, several issues came up and it almost became a competition. One thing that was trending was Okada, legalizing Okada business. And I remember at that time, government was flip-flopping because government initially said they are not for it, and then later we heard them engaging Okada men, and then Dr. Baumia made a proposal. Now the elections are over. How do Okada riders feel? The MPP won the elections, and therefore the Okada riders should go with whatever they promised. The NDC lost. Are they disappointed? Many of these issues will continue to trend. So what we will do today is to bring your mind back to some of the issues, policy issues that must be discussed. I remember that last year, the National Road Safety Commission, the Police MTTD department, went on nationwide consultation, seeking opinion from MPs, from Okada riders, from media practitioners, from people at the Ministry of Transport, on whether to legalize Okada or review the existing law to incorporate them into the transport industry. We'll be speaking to somebody who has the latest or an update of those consultations as part of what Abena will bring you. We'll be back after the break. When we come, the newspaper headlines.
The average human body mass should have at least 60% water for optimal performance in any physical or mental exercise. We can help you maintain it naturally. X Natural Mineral Water. Simply natural.
Welcome back. This is the morning update on TVXYZ, also available on Wizard TV for those of you who follow our conversation on social media, Facebook, YouTube. Call a friend this morning. Let's have our breakfast together. There's a lot on the table, well spiced, and I believe you will enjoy it. This is the newspaper headlines segment. Abna, I was following conversation on social media, and it looks like the proceedings in Parliament has become one of the topical issues.
Right.
And a lot of people are excited about the banter. Some say they are now appreciating what it is to read law or to rise to sit on the bench. Others are also raising a lot of controversial issues. I received an open letter somebody sent to me. I'll be reading that, but let's see what is in the papers first. You have Daily Graphic.
Yes, I have Daily Graphic. Now, on the front page of the Daily Graphic, it says here that Supreme Court decides tomorrow. Now, the NDC chair wants the EC boss to step in the box and talk, but her lawyers are disputing that fact. So let's see tomorrow what the judges come up with. Now, earlier on, Eric stated that Parliament has been suspended because of the rise of COVID. Now, initially, the number of MPs who were infected was 17, but 15, but is moved up to 17. And also, the workers were 56 infected persons has shot up all the way to 151 personnel working at Parliament. So I think the suspension of Parliament is in order. Now, on the back page, it says here that fight over Rapkin title turns deadly in Cape Coast. These violent situations that are happening are one of the things that we really should be delving into. Now, to the BNFT, which is the Business and Financial Times, it says that 50 police facilities disinfected in the Bono region. Also, the Child Rights International is saying that it's too early to shut down schools. Don't forget to bring in your opinions, your views on the numbers that we put on the screen, and we will read them out. Now, we have been saying that schools should shut down, but apparently the Child Rights International is saying that it is too early to shut down because a lot of the students haven't died yet.
Let me start with the Ghanaian Times newspaper. There's a story on the front page. Cross-border racketeering. 19 foreigners arrested in Ho. It's an exciting story, but I believe there's a lot of conversation around it. The borders were closed for almost over a year now, or let's say about 10 months ago, the borders were closed because of COVID. We also know that the Lubo border, the Aflao border, and then you go to the northern belt, it is a business hub, cross-border trade. And many of the people who live in this enclave have dependent on business around this area for life, 10, 15, 20, 30, 40, 50 years. And all they do is to be part of the business around this area. Because of COVID, those borders are closed. It means that the source of income for these people living in those areas has been truncated. The question is, over the last 8-9 months, what measures has government put in place under the COVID compensation or package for these people to survive? It looks like we've forgotten about them. And I see a lot of publications, people have crossed into Ghana, and so we have arrested them and we are deporting them. It's good. But if we are allowing people to come in and we are able to arrest and deport them, the question is, if we have relaxed the enforcement of the COVID protocols in some of the densely populated communities in Accra, then the question again is, are we really serious? Or we are just closing the border because we don't care about the lives of people who have depended on businesses around that area? I believe members of Parliament and, of course, the society in general must show interest in this. This obviously will be part of our conversation on news paper review. I am very passionate about this, and I want to provoke you this morning to also show interest in the conversation. And so you send us your text messages 0556 999 999. Just think about it. I'll tell you more in the papers. Ghanaian Times, as I spoke about on the front page, is what I ranted on, but there are other stories. We can't keep COVID-19 protocol violators in cells. That is what the Ghana Police Service is saying. Police grabbed 2 baby thieves in Ashanti region, and COVID-19 CRI kicks against closure of schools. Quick one at the back page. ActionAid organizes workshop on sexual harassment, and MP deplores tertiary students' violation of COVID-19 protocols. The Herald newspaper on its front page, I'll show this to you. The Herald on its front page says, Chachu Chikata catches EC boss hiding behind private land case to dodge constitutional accountability. Yes, so you have the Herald newspaper on the screen now. Schools breeding more coronavirus cases. Minority calls for dissolution of government advisory team, and then reject Oforiatta Godfrey Damis nominations, and that's the petition to Parliament. So those are the first 2 papers I'll talk about. I do not have the Chronicle.
Yes, so on the front page of the Chronicle, it says here that mosquito bites and Koku Anyedo, whose head rose. Now, if you could remember, Koku and Nketia did contest for the General Secretary for the NDC, to which Koku lost and General Nketia took over. Now, he has been suspended. If you want to know why, you can purchase the Chronicle newspaper and check that out. Now, also, my lords, can I answer one question at a time? Chachu's plea after being bombarded with questions from the law lords. I've seen a lot of people on Twitter saying Chachu is a very excellent lawyer. I wish to grow up and be like him. Well,
look, he's admired.
Yes,
he has earned that respect.
He has. I agree.
His demeanor in court, and his arguments have been very cogent.
Yes.
Yesterday, I saw some post. At 9 years, he was at Infantipim School. He left the university with degree, first class, master's level, where he read a certain related course, master's level. This is a brilliant chap.
He is.
And he's demonstrating that he's really brilliant. Well, the Informer newspaper on its front page, Kwesi Pratt versus Akufo-Addo. You can see the picture here, and I'll read with you what is there. Kwesi Pratt insults Akufo-Addo. Well, what is the reason about this? Reintroduction of COVID-19 restrictions. Kwesi Pratt insults Akufo-Addo. Says there is no common sense in his directives. I think the headline may appear very harsh, but if you go into the details, the basic information there is that he disagrees with the government. And then we have self-inflicted 10 million defamatory suit. Temakot chases Mohammed's boy. Jifa Gunu issues substituted order against the respondent. Also coming on the front page of the Informer newspaper. And the last one here says poor air quality in Accra metropolis. 5,000 to die if stringent measures are not taken to improve this. Let me run through the rest quickly. The Inquisitor has on its front page a story about business. It talks about GRA's a weird 18.5 million to McKinsey. Then that's all it comes with it, and on the front page with so many pictures. Carlos Ahenkra, Kenel Kojo Damwa, Julie Esiam, Kweku Ajiman Kwateng, NSK Akore, Major Daniel Ablo Kweku, Kwaku, and Juliana Ado Yobo. Then Professor Stephen Adai, Kofi Nti, all these people are related to either the Finance Ministry or Trade or maybe the GRA and so on and so forth. Very interesting story. Get a copy and read. George under heavy troll over election petition. The Liberty newspaper. Today I'm getting a lot of some exciting newspapers. Liberty newspaper has on its front page, vetting of ministers designate begins today. This is where Ghanaians will go. But for the Supreme Court decision to suspend, to continue the hearing tomorrow, I am sure people will be torn between monitoring proceedings or listening to the vetting. Kweku Agyeman and Kandapa will be before the committee today. Petitioner can't compel us to be in the witness box. Akoto Ampao tells Supreme Court. The Daily Post. The Daily Post has on its front page. I see Dr. Nyaho Tamaklo, and the story that comes with the picture of Chachuchi Kata is related to the Supreme Court petition. It says Jean Mensah's refusal to testify is a perversion of justice. Chachuchi Kata. So that's the banner headline on the front page of the Daily Post newspaper. Others, Ghana is losing the fight against coronavirus due to poor leadership. NDC caucus in Parliament. And one that has always been trending on social media has to do with Professor Kweku Asare. And this headline says, it will be in the interest of Akufo-Addo and EC, as well as others, for Jean Mensah to enter the witness box. Abna, what do you have?
Yes, so I have my final paper, which is the Herald. Now, it says here that Chachuchi Kata catches EC boss hiding behind private land case. Now, this is to dodge constitutional accountability. This is according to...
I think I've done that already.
You've done that already.
Then I was overspeeding. Yes. Don't worry.
So I think we are done with
our newspaper. Of all what we have read, which one is of interest to you?
Well, I saw the Jean Mensah's own.
So the story about the Supreme Court.
Yes.
What strikes out when you want to look at everything around the petition and the debate in court?
To be honest, what strikes out the most is how Chachi is handling himself in court. And also the fact that I would prefer that the EC chair would stand in the box and tell us a few things. Because
what is the reason?
Because first off, you come out with certain numbers, and then you later come to court and say that you made a mistake with the numbers. These are questions that need to be answered. How do you make such a mistake? And later on, I had she had two speeches. One had figures and one had... so which one did she read?
I'm told we have to take a break now. I have what somebody calls open letter to the Judicial Service of Ghana. And it says, Dear Chief Justice Enini Yeboah, and the author is Mary A. Buedu. I'll tell you more about this when I come back again for the newspaper review segment. We'll take a break now.
Peace of mind is very essential in your journey to success. For Akwesi Papa, peace of mind means having a proper covering over his family. Literally. For Araba, aka Injection Mama, it's about having the funds to complete her advanced nursing course. And as for Corporal Odami, it's as simple as reporting on time for his shifts. Sometimes all you need is a simple push. At Needs Microfinance, we have tailor-made loan packages for salaried workers under the Controller General's Department. With the low interest rate and quick wahala-free process, you are guaranteed of a timely solution to get back that peace of mind, literally in 30 minutes. Needs Microfinance. Growing with you.
Welcome to AutoCheck Vehicle Diagnostic and Licensing Center.
I hear my car can be checked here without going to so many hour crash.
Sure.
Check, auto checks, check, auto checks, check.
Emission, check.
Check, auto checks.
Alignment, check.
Auto checks, check, auto checks.
Brakes, check. Visit AutoChecks at Koforidua Aquadum Road for the roadworthiness of your vehicle, from saloon cars to heavy-duty industrial vehicles. Madam, your car is now ready for the road.
Thank you so much.
Auto checks.
Auto checks. Check.
AutoChecks. Your safety, our priority.
Check, auto checks.
Welcome back. Now, this is still the morning update on TVXYZ. Before we went for the break, we did take some newspaper headlines where we talked about the petition that is happening in court. We spoke about the rise of COVID and many other things. Like always, Wisdom is here to give us details of such stories. Good morning, Wisdom.
Good morning, Nana.
You're back in your African wear.
Yeah, it's always good.
What do you have for us this morning?
So today, lots of things happening. No, the Appointment Committee of Parliament is expected to sit today. Now, MPs on both sides have been speaking as to what they expect. Now, some say that it's not a witch hunt process. Others also say they are not going to rubber stamp the nominee. So I'll be giving you details about that. But in your own expectations, what do you look forward to?
Well, I'm
Vetting committee today.
To be honest, just like the elections, I'm looking at a free and fair.
Free and fair. You know what's coming first? Kweku Agyeman-Manu,
yes.
Health Minister designate in the era of COVID. Yes, I'll be telling you about that. Also, the boo, Koku Anyidoho, has been giving a nice knock, if you want to call it.
Yes, I read that he's been
suspended from the party. And then also the minority group, the health committee is asking that government dissolves with immediate effect the COVID-19 technical team.
All right, so take us away, Wisdom.
Grateful for your company this morning. We begin the story from the Supreme Court, and the Apex Court will tomorrow rule on whether EC Chair Jean Mensah will enter the witness box for cross-examination in the ongoing election petition case. Now, yesterday, lead counsel for the petitioner, Chachuchi Kata, spent close to 2 hours in the heated debate with a panel of judges on why any decision to prevent Jean Mensah from being grilled on results she declared it's unconstitutional and would deny them justice. Now, this follows earlier submissions by lawyers that both the witnesses for EC and MPP will not lead any further evidence in court. But lawyer Chachuchi Kata told the court that by filing its witness statement, the EC has clearly crossed the bridge as far as opening up for the witness was concerned. He also said it will be an affront to justice if Jean Mensah isn't cross-examined. He also served notice that should the EC chair decide otherwise, his team may be forced to issue a subpoena.
As amended by CI 87, that is in respect of written statements. Under 38, that is in respect of witness statements. Under 38, Rule 3E, Sub-Rule 5. You can read Sub-Rule 1 before you go and read Sub-Rule 5. Then you appreciate the import of the rule. Of CI 47 as amended by CI 87.
Yes. Order 38, Rule 1.
Rule 3E. Rule 3E 1 and 5. Rule 3E, yes, Sub-Rule 1 and then Sub-Rule 5. That's the CI 87.
Yes, 3E1.
Yes.
If a party has served a witness statement and that party wishes to rely at the trial on the evidence of the witness who made the statement, that party shall call the witness to give oral evidence unless that party shall call the witness to give oral evidence. Shall. Unless the court otherwise orders. Where in determining the issues regarding leave for serving interrogatories on the first respondent, the fact that what was in the interrogatories could be the subject of cross-examination was a critical aspect of what was urged on the court by first respondent. There was an affidavit filed on 22nd January 2021 by the chairperson in opposition to a motion for review of the court's refusal to allow for interrogatories to be served.
And that argument yesterday in court aroused some public reactions on social media. Now, the NDC yesterday in court, after addressing the press, said it is surprising if the Supreme Court will go ahead and grant the EC from being grilled. Dominic Ayine is a former Deputy Attorney General.
I applied for interrogatories. That is, we wanted to administer 12 questions to her that we thought were relevant and necessary in advancing the case before the court. She swore an affidavit in which she said the interrogatories should not be allowed, and that when it comes to cross-examination, those questions can be put to her. Again, she swore to an affidavit in which she said the court should not grant us the leave to inspect the original documents, on the basis that if it comes to cross-examination, we will take our turn in impeaching her credibility in looking at those documents and their relevance to the case.
Dr. Dominic Ayine, he also said that the cases presented by the defense lawyers are flawed.
Under any circumstance, be allowed not to account to the people through cross-examination, because cross-examination is one of the mechanisms allowed by law for exacting accountability of litigants. And this is not an ordinary litigant, as I've said. This is a constitutional office holder. So our case is very different from some of even the English cases that were being cited, are of no moment when it comes to this peculiar matter that we are dealing with in court.
You heard former Deputy Attorney General Dr. Dominic Ayine, who is also a member of the NDC legal team. Meanwhile, the NPP says it will still stand by its earlier ruling that the court should rule in its favor. Addressing the media, member of the legal team, Nana Adwoa Adobia Asante, says they still stand by the case and that the burden of proof lies on the petitioner and not them, the defendants.
Curious that the petitioner, on whom the burden of proof lies, wants the Electoral Commissioner to mount the witness box in order for him to use the Electoral Commissioner to prove its case. This is not heard of, and our application today was grounded, firmly grounded in law. Lawyers, when we go to court, decide the strategy we want to take. We, as counsel for the second respondent, decided to take this course of action. And we indeed feel that this is...
Nana Adwoa Adobia Asante is a member of the NPP legal team. Let's go to Parliament now. Now, the minority group is demanding the immediate dissolution of Government COVID-19 Technical Team Advisory Board. Now, as ranking on the Health Committee and MP for Joaboso, Kwabena Minta Akando, who addressed the press corps, is demanding a bipartisan committee to help prevent the crisis from escalating.
Management of the COVID-19 pandemic has been fraught with some difficulties, starting from response to the first few cases, the lockdown, supply of PPE, determining allowances to frontline staff through management of cases, contact tracing, quarantining of patients to availability of facilities, including late decision to use facilities like the University of Ghana Medical Center, the Bank of Ghana Hospital, among others, for treatment of critical cases. Another challenge was associated with contact tracing, testing and provision and enforcement of safety protocols. The private sector led initiative that resulted the construction of Ghana's first infectious disease isolation and treatment center at the Ga East Regional Hospital. In spite of these, government gave itself thumbs up compared to case management in most countries. But critics insist the resurgence of the virus exposes huge lapses. Kwabena Minta Akando is the ranking member of the Health Committee.
Since the outbreak of this pandemic, government has not shown competence in the management of the virus. The first two cases of COVID-19 in Ghana were reported in March 2020. This was after government failed to be proactive in closing our borders early. Since then, Ghana has confirmed cases. Ghana's confirmed cases has increased exponentially to 72,328 as of 8 February this year, and records more than 700 newly confirmed cases daily, with current active cases of 6,707. At the last count, Ghana has lost 464 lives to the virus as of yesterday, with about 129 or 28% of these deaths occurring only this year. And mind you, this year is less than 1.5 months.
He believes a bipartisan approach will address any cover-up. The Dwabusu MP also demanded the release of funds to regional and district health facilities.
Government should, as a matter of urgency, dissolve the technical advisory team formed in 2020 and recompose a technical team that is multidisciplinary and non-partisan, competent enough to direct on the management of COVID-19 in the country. 2, government should release funds to regional and district health teams to enhance contact tracing and case testing and pay all the monies promised health workers. 3, as a matter of urgency, expand more management facilities and build capacity to handle the many severe cases that are likely to be confirmed.
9 more people have died from the disease, and the death toll now stands at 482, with 6,938 active cases.
Now, Parliament has adjourned for 3 weeks following the upsurge of COVID-19 cases among members. Meanwhile, pressure is mounting for the closure of schools. As of last Monday, 90 schools in 5 regions have been infected with COVID-19. Now, scores of teachers are also reportedly down over the disease. But the teacher unions, NAT and NADGRAT, are calling for calm. TVXYZ News has been engaging the public on their reactions.
The children, when they are at home, they disturb their parents. They don't know playing the way they're playing the house is not good. Some of them they study the courses they do. They were learning in school. When they come back, when they came home, so they forget about the courses. So to me, it's good that they should be in school so that the teachers will be taking care of them.
It's speculated from day one that government was not supposed to allow the KG to go.
For the basic level, it's very difficult for them to follow the COVID protocols. As I am saying, even yesterday yesterday in my compound, one of the KG children went to school with a nose mask and came back with a different nose mask.
So if you're a parent and you give for example, that's black nose mask you give to your ward to go to school, and they come back with, say, white or whichever color, how is that going to feel for you as a parent? Well, it's your choice to decide. That's why there are calls for closure of schools. Well, let's still go back to Parliament, because the appointment committee is set for vetting of nominees today. Now, the first 2 billed to appear are Minister Designate for Health, Kweku Agyeman-Manu, and nominee for National Security, Albert Kan-Dapaah. Now, MPs on both sides have assured the public of good job. Ni Lante Vanderpoel is MP for Odododo, and John Intim Fojo is MP for Assin South.
If the person is not competent, the person is not qualified to hold that position. I believe even members of the MPP on the appointment committee should listen to the voice of Ghanaians. We are not going there to approve people because they've been nominated by the president. We are not going there to approve people because they may be members of parliament or because their names have been mentioned or because they have certain qualifications. We are also not going there to do witch hunting.
We're expecting that we'll have very thorough exercise. We're expecting to have very diligent exercise done, and I'm not expecting any controversy to arise. I'm expecting that there will be consensus built on almost all the nominations that have been received so far, considering the track record of the nominees, considering the creditable discharge of their duties, those that are performed in same or similar positions in the past.
So what are your own expectations regarding the vetting of these nominees? Let's hear what people have been saying on the street of Accra.
I don't expect some ministers designated to go through because of certain things we've all observed for a long period of time. And I can mention some few of them, but I don't know whether that will be permitted. Looking at Hawa Kumson being designated. There's one other thing I don't know whether she'll be able to pass through, and I think it will be difficult for her to go through.
As it stands now, the appointment committee is made up of 13 from the minority and then 13 from the majority. So I'm sure it's not going to be as the usual, because this time around they are going to make things such a way that you don't just sail through so easily.
I pray if for those who deserve should be given the opportunity, and for those who are not even part of the government and they are good in that particular position, they should give them the opportunity.
And now, before we go, the NDC has suspended its former Deputy General Secretary, Koku Anyidoho, with immediate effect. Now, a statement signed by General Secretary Johnson Asiedu Nketia referred to two petitions reviewed by the Functional Executive Committee of the party for his recent conduct, which it says amounts to disunity of the party.
Democratic Congress has suspended Koku Anyidoho from the party. This comes after two separate petitions from two registered members of the NDC. These two individuals lodged an official complaint against his conduct, which is viewed to be in breach of the party's disciplinary code for its members as contained in the NDC constitution. In a statement signed by General Secretary Johnson Asiedu Nketia, he stated that the FEC considered two separate petitions in a meeting on the 20th of January 2021, after which a decision was taken to, with immediate effect, suspend his membership from the party. The decision, according to the party, is in accordance with Article 461, 466, and 468B of the party's constitution. The petitions, according to the statement, have been referred to the party's disciplinary committee pending hearing and final determination of the petition against his conduct.
And that'll be it for this morning's News and Brave on the morning update. But Abena, did you see this coming? Koku Anyidoho's suspension?
Not at all.
Why?
Not because I don't see. To be honest, I just didn't see it coming.
But people said this was long coming.
Overdue.
You didn't notice?
What do you say? Every day you say, people say, what do you say?
No. What I've seen and read.
Okay. Thank you for giving us the stories. Now, one of the stories he read that struck at me was the fact that students are exchanging nose masks, which I think the schools should implement specific nose masks for the students and write their names on it. It may not curb the situation completely, but it might help solve that situation. This is still the morning update on TV XYZ. Stick and stay. If you're following the 2020 presidential election campaign, you may have heard of the word Okada or even danced to the Okada tune. I know I did, so I won't sit here and lie about it. Now, certain politicians or two of the flag bearers of the major political parties in Ghana made certain promises to Ghanaians. One of the group of people whose promise stood out were the Okada riders. Now, they said a lot of things. The flag bearer for the NDC came out to say that Okada should be legalized, to which the flag bearer of NPP said, no way. But later, I think they had a rethink and came back to say that they would have better ways to legalize the Okada operations, which was to give them vehicles, which, now get this, they were going to give them vehicles that will be made in Ghana. For me, that was an awesome thing, for the fact that Ghana was going to move into tertiary or secondary production. But till now, we haven't heard anything. Before I take us further, let's take a look at John Mahama and the Vice President, Dr. Mahamudu Bawumia, when they were making all of these sweet promises.
Buses, our taxis tend to be quite old. And why are they old? The drivers tend to have very little capital to buy the new vehicles. And so they are kept out of that market. In the transport sector recapitalization project, what we are proposing is for government to come in the middle to provide support for our drivers, for the taxis, trotters, and buses, to be able to essentially lease these new vehicles that are being made in Ghana. We have buses that are going to be made from the Evans, the Trotro type buses, the mini buses, the cars. They're all going to be made here in the context of what we are doing. We would rather encourage the Okada riders to come in or lease these vehicles so that they can run businesses. They need to graduate from this risky and less safe Okada riding to a safer means of transportation. Their problem will be a lack of capital. But if you bring in new leasing policies and we have our national ID cards with our digital addresses and so on, we can have a credit system working and give you an option other than this risky, you don't want to finish graduate school and then you make a life in Okada riding. You can have a better option, and we will give you a better option. So yes, we will not legalize Okada business in Ghana. It is in the interest of Ghanaians. We have had discussions, but we will stick to our decision to provide a better alternative for the Okada riders.
I told you he was making juicy promises. Now, this debate, it is worth to note that John Dramani Mahama started the debate, to which the NPP came out strongly to say that they were not going to legalize the Okada in Ghana, which I think is a situation that really needs to be looked at, because if really you have been following the Okada rides, you would realize that their peak time is around traffic time. And so maybe what we could have done is to legalize at certain areas and leave it, just as they do in the US. Certain laws are passed in certain states that are not accepted in other states, because some of us, our roads are terrible. And so the Okada seems to move faster on it for us than the cars. And other areas too, I have seen the Circle and Kaneshi Okada riders. And to be frank, when I saw it, I said to myself that it doesn't have to be legalized because they look too dangerous. I also did like the idea that they were going to give cars, but to be honest, that is not going to help us. What we need to do is to try to curb the situation. Our leaders are, should I say, fond of just putting plaster and bandages on wounds and leaving the wound to fester, which is what I feel the NPP government might be doing with the Okada situation, because if you give them vehicles, you're just going to increase the traffic on the road. People pick, one of the major reasons why people pick Okada is to beat traffic. Now, let's listen to John Dramani Mahama's submissions on the Okada legalization as well.
The 1 million jobs plan, which we have christened Ejumapa, will generate an average of 250,000 decent jobs every year. Our job creation policies would be rapidly deployed through needed interventions that are applied to ensure that all sectors of the economy give priority to the creation of sustainable and decent jobs. The 1 million jobs will be anchored on the big push, an aggressive infrastructure development for jobs. The 10 billion investment over 5 years will stimulate the economy and provide opportunities for businesses to grow, create new entrepreneurs, and employ more people. A national apprenticeship program to train technically skilled human resources for rapid industrialization, job creation, and entrepreneurship will be implemented. NAP, as we call it, will target 500,000 out-of-school youth, including Kayaye. Government will bear the cost of fees for their training, and they will receive start-up kits on completion of their training. What this means is that we'll register master craftsmen in all the districts around the country. We'll register youth that are interested in going as apprentices to learn a skill, and we'll pay the master craftsmen to train them, and when they are finished, we'll give them the kits that they need to start work, whether sewing machines or hair dryers. Through a number of tax exemptions, micro, small, and medium enterprises will be able to plow back their profits, drive the digitization of the economy to provide new jobs, encourage establishment of new businesses, focusing on exports to help create more job opportunities, provide free training in coding to young people across the country, engage a minimum of 300,000 beneficiaries under the Youth Employment Agency, focus on skills acquisition, legalize and regulate Okada business in order to make it safer and be an avenue for employment. Convert the labor office into a national employment center with offices in all the regions. Persons seeking jobs can register online, and employers who recruit from the National Employment Center database will receive tax incentives. It will also compile.
That was Muhammad speaking on implementing or creating room for jobs for these Okada riders. We will take another bite from the police MTTD superintendent, but before we do that, there are certain facts that you should know. So prior to the 2020 elections, the National Road Safety Commission, together with the Police Motor Traffic Department, MTTD, and the Transport Ministry had begun a nationwide consultation engaging media practitioners, driver unions, politicians, and other stakeholders on whether or not to legalize Okada. Now, workshops were reviewed, cases into the country like Nigeria, Togo, Zimbabwe, Rwanda, India, and other countries. A report has since been forwarded to the government, and actions are being taken. And obviously, we, TVXYZ, have been following this conversation. And according to the Superintendent Alexander Kweku Obeng, the Transport Ministry is reviewing the reports. Now, let's hear him.
That the state has made much effort, and it lies now with Ministry of Transport to come up with the policy direction. So far as I'm concerned, what police are doing is very simple. That if you are a motorcycle owner, ensure that it's registered. If you are a motorcycle owner, ensure that the one on it is 18 years and above and has a motor driver's license category A, and ensure that the motorcycle has insurance cover, so that it will be and then those who are on board are also wearing protective clothing, particularly the crash helmet, and using the right side of the road at all times that the person is riding, and refrain from zigzagging in traffic and exposing everybody to danger, including running amber and red lights. And when these things are done, police wouldn't have problem with police. Otherwise, police will continue to sustain our stringent enforcement strategy, suits, lookout, impound motorcycle, and arrest those who are infracting with the use of motorcycle. Let me also use this opportunity to inform Ghanaians that of the 2,589 deaths that we registered last year, 1,056 were as a result of motorcycle-related injury. And therefore, if you are using your motorcycle for whatever purpose, ensure that you conform to the safety protocols in terms of its use. and I pray that all of us should be focused on that one and ensure that motorcycle riders and pillion riders comply with all safety protocols regarding motorcycle ownership and use, and particularly in traffic, so that majority of Ghanaians will be protected.
So we heard from the Superintendent Alexander Kweku Obing telling us some of the issues they have had so far. Now, he said something that struck me, which was the number of accidents that have been caused by Okada riders. And so what I'll say to them, if they're watching, or if you're watching and you know an Okada rider, you tell them to try as much as possible to observe the safety protocols and be aware of some of the road protocols as well. Now, this morning, as we are talking about the fate of Okada riders, I am joined in the studio by the spokesperson, the PRO of the Okada Riders Association, Mr. Solomon Akpanaba. Good morning, Mr. Solomon.
Good morning.
It's good to have you here.
Thank you.
I'm sure you have been following the discussion, or I can give you a brief. We're talking about the promises that were made to Okada riders during the electioneering campaign. And we want to hear from the horse's own mouth a few things. Now, I cannot ask you on national television which of them you voted for, but I'm sure that as the campaign promises were ongoing, certain key issues struck you. Can you tell us about that? What are the key issues that you were interested in as the organization?
Well, thank you for the opportunity, and then I want to say good morning to viewers and then Okada riders across the country. When we heard the news that the NDC have considered our issue in their manifesto, we were so excited. So we also gave opportunity to other political parties to respond to the manifesto as to what they will do to help us, so that we understand exactly where we should, which line we should go to. At the end of the day, we were able to rally our support behind those who have our interests at their heart. We had to travel around the country and then talk to our colleagues what they understand about what was going on at that time and what they would do. So when we got to Hohoi, we were so shocked that motorbikes were bought for Okada riders freely. Some were giving helmets publicly for votes. We did our best, and the outcome, we have all seen what happened. So we are grateful.
Okay. Now, you did say that you gave others the opportunity to respond. Does this in any way mean that you were consulted, you as an association were consulted before these manifestos came out? Because I know that it was a national discussion.
Sure, they consulted us. They asked us what our problems were, and we said the law against Okada was our problem. It is a law that does not help the country itself. In terms of we paying taxes and revenues here and there and all that. So this is track of the law. After all, the law is there, we are working. It isn't that the police don't arrest us. We prefer to be arrested, go to court, pay fines and come back than to be stealing. And the court one day they asked me if I pay the fine and go, will I do Okada again? And I said I cannot afford to steal. So if I will be lawless, it is only through Okada, not stealing and fighting or robbery or selling drugs. No, I prefer to be paying fines and be doing my Okada. And any other Okada rider is ready to pay fines and do the Okada. After all, some of the fines we pay are less than what some of the policemen take from us on the road.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are talking to Mr. Solomon Akpanaba, the PRO for the Okada Riders Association. Now, this is the morning update on TV XYZ, and this segment is proudly brought to you by Health Link Clinic, and so also by Health Alert Clinic. Health Alert Clinic. You can call them on the numbers on your screen, or if you have certain diseases, heart-related issues, you can go to them and they would sort you out. Also, we are sponsored by X Natural Mineral Water. Continuing our conversation on the fate of Okada riders, would you agree, before I go to my next question, would you agree that your members or some of your members flout road regulations?
Sure, I agree.
Okay. Now, how big is your membership? How big is your member? How many are you in your association?
Now we are over 1 million. Over 1 million.
You're over 1 million?
Yes.
Across nation or just
the whole
Accra?
Ghana, where we have registered members and non-registered members.
Right. So have you had, as a leadership, have you had any formal approach to the government?
Sure, we did in so many ways. I've written to Parliament. I've written to Parliament
before or after the elections?
Before, far 2017 or 18 thereabout. I went to Parliament.
And what was the response? What did you write, and what did you write to Parliament? And what was the response?
We wrote that the law against Okada is a senseless law. It is unenforceable. It is unapplicable. It is against our human rights. For me to buy a bike and you will decide for me what I should do, it is against our economic right. So they should scratch it off and rather they should regularize Okada so that we can be trained. Is it not a shame? Not a shame on the part of government to go and purchase 1,000 motorbikes, 500 motorbikes, 100 motorbikes, give to an institution like hospital, NAPCO or whatever, to enhance their mobility without first of all showing them where they should go for training so that they can use the bike efficiently.
I think the issue is not solely on the fact that you're riding the Okada, but it has to do with the safety regulations that most of your members, which you are aware, they flout. And some of them, their motorbikes are not insured as well. How do you even regulate all of this?
This can be tackled through the training. Sometimes people act out of ignorance, or even if they know, there is a level of knowing. So you kind of do something to accomplish the main target. That definitely, if there's a classroom and they go show videos and pictures of accident victims, tell them this. What we intend to do was a holistic approach, a very comprehensive one. We will sit with the relevant authorities and suggest to them, if we do this, we do this, and at the end of the day, accidents on our roads will be reduced drastically.
Right. Now, when you say ignorance, what does that mean? What does it really entail when it comes to
For instance, somebody who don't know riding, whether he's a Ghanaian or not, today, if he can afford a motorbike, which is those they use for Okada, 4,000 to 6,000 Ghana cedis, or let me say 4,000 to 7,000 Ghana cedis. So it's easy to afford, and when they buy it, he's on the road. He doesn't know road signs, and you can't know road signs by your own wisdom that you were born a clever guy, so you know road. No, you have to learn. And there is no opportunity for us to learn. So traffic regulations like this, sometimes we stand on the traffic and the problems we face, we realize that, okay, if I will stand on the traffic to obey traffic light, only for a police officer to come and remove my key and be asking me questions, then next time I will not obey. But in a classroom, we can be taught that it is better you obey the traffic regulations than to say because of a policeman you run away only to end up losing your life. Some of us have the experience, others don't have. So if an opportunity is provided, those who have the experience will help to enlighten those who don't have, so that their lives will be safe. Other road users too will be safe as well.
Now, I know the Vice President did make certain promises to you. I do not know if you saw the speech or you saw the video, but I'll call for it so that you listen, and afterwards I'll ask you a few questions on that. So let's kindly take the bite from Dr. Mahamudu Bawumia.
Buses, our taxis tend to be quite old. And why are they old? The drivers tend to have very little capital to buy the new vehicles. And so they are kept out of that market. In the transport sector recapitalization project, what we are proposing is for government to come in the middle to provide support for our drivers, for the taxis, trotters, and buses, to be able to essentially lease these new vehicles that are being made in Ghana. We have buses that are going to be made from the Evans, the Trotro type buses, the mini buses, the cars. They're all going to be made here in the context of what we are doing. We would rather encourage the Okada riders to come in or lease these vehicles so that they can run businesses. They need to graduate from this risky and less safe Okada riding to a safer means of transportation. Their problem will be a lack of capital. But if you bring in new leasing policies and we have our national ID cards with our digital addresses and so on, we can have a credit system working and give you an option other than this risky, you don't want to finish graduate school and then make a life in Okada riding. You can have a better option, and we will give you a better option. So yes, we will not legalize Okada business in Ghana. It is in the interest of Ghanaians. We have had discussions, but we will stick to our decision to provide a better alternative for the Okada riders.
So that's the Dr. Mahamudu Bawumia stating that they will give better options in terms of the Okada riding. MPP has won. How are we going to follow up on this now? You just heard what the Vice President stated prior to the election 2020. MPP has won. You heard the promise. How are you going to make sure that they implement this promise? First of all, are you even in support of they giving you vehicles?
No, we are not in support.
So we're going forward. What are you going to tell them, since that is what they promised?
The promise they made, they saw I said it, that if they don't resign their decision to give us vehicles or cars, the consequences of it will show in the election, and it has shown. So we are grateful that we told them the truth, that they should not do politics with us. You are in power. You have the opportunity to regularize Okada. Don't listen to people who will tell you that, oh, we are nuisance, Okada is risky. That word, I hate to hear it, that Okada is risky. It is a technical, deceptive word, you see, born out of malice and antagonizes. I don't want to hear Okada is risky. What is not risky in this world? What is not risky? Those medical associations who claim Okada, their work is riskier than Okada. We have seen doctors dying out of so many diseases or issues directly having a direct link with their profession. In a nutshell, it is not a crime to take a risk in life. Life is about taking risk. You don't sit in the car and call it risk-free and turn to me and my motorbike that my activity or I and the motor, we are risky. How do you understand by risky? Anything you do, you risk. Even making phone call is a risk. Okay, so that's why I said it's a technical, deceptive word. Now, let me make this analogy for you. The experts worldwide have described all roads in this country as the most dangerous part of the country. Ghana, the most dangerous part is our roads. They didn't single. You see, Okada, we see ourselves in the whole set. We see ourselves as a subset. Ghana Medical Association is a subset. DVLA, Roadwork, we are all subsets within a whole set. One set don't have the right to describe another set A or B. You understand? Let us agree that we are all at risk. Our roads are not safe. It takes you and I to reduce the risk and have some level of safety. But when you single the Okada and say they are risky, and car accident is in the rise, to some extent, I can say that it is God who is teaching you a lesson. You see, people survived coronavirus. Recently, the car accident in the northern region, some buses, 2 buses or whatever. I know a surviving coronavirus victim who died in the accident. Look at the amount of money people spend to fight and win COVID-19.
Okay. Now, Mr. Solomon, there is a school of thought that believe that Okada riders are recalcitrant or illiterates. Before you answer this or you say anything about this for me, what is your background, educational background?
This my it's my private life. You see, I didn't just start doing Okada accidentally. I wanted to further my education after teaching. I was in a training college, the 3rd year, and I was having an issue that I have to run away. It has to do with some position that I was supposed to take in the traditional setup, and I don't want it. So I left the country. When I came back, because I already have a little background in teaching, so I taught for a while, and I wanted to continue my education. So schooling while taking care of a family is not easy in Accra. My mother is staying with me, I have kids and all that. So I decided to be doing the Okada. Then in the process, the journalists started to talk to us, and I kind of spearhead as a leader or something. So that's but most of the riders are educated. Let me put it on it. Now we have an opportunity to show the facts, and we will do it within 3 months.
I think that's something we would love to see.
Yes.
So whenever you're ready,
GVLA is giving us an opportunity to enroll. They have agreed that they will establish motor riders training schools. And I've been saying that it doesn't come at a cost to government. It's free. Because you just say people who are interested should apply. And then people will apply as motor riders training school proprietors. Others will apply as instructors. Others will go for the training. And at the end of the day, road accidents will reduce. So as going forward, you will see the graduates who apply as motor riders who want to become instructors or whatever.
All right. Now we are waiting to see that put into action. Thank you for talking to us this morning, taking time off your busy schedules. Now we have been talking to Mr. Solomon Akpanaba, who is the PRO for the Okada Riders Association, with regards to certain promises that were made to them by the President of the Republic of Ghana during their electioneering campaign. This segment is proudly brought to you by Health Link Clinic, and also the entire show is sponsored by X Natural Mineral Water. My name is Nana Abnasawa. Stay tuned. We'll be right back.
Ifa kura na menyisika edia ye mefui.
Ehin fa na menya bosia edia tre medwuma yimu.
Kai kura mabre mi busia ato taxi fufu. Suhum Rural Bank.
Suhum Rural Bank.
Yamamwakwa baba Suhum Rural Bank. Ye won hyehyɛ ahodoɔ bi te sɛ dwadifo abosia, ekokro bosia, susu account, and it does wɔ hɔ savings account, me bada chain savings account, and the akeka ho. Suhum Rural Bank was 03422919896. Na won so wetumi aka sɛ
Suhum Rural Bank ama ene mayeka una.
Suhum Rural Bank enti me pa minie.
Suhum Rural Bank, growing our heritage.
Kofi na saying habama to me saya dear pia and ankametina homa me yadia kumie.
Oh, not then. Health Alert Clinic dear. Yadin habama any organic product in Kwa and the saya dear.
Bear money or bar I won't wire modene. Won't Health Alert Clinic.
Health Alert Clinic dear. Say ya Bema wint me more jumayi. Menstrual disorder, hypertension, and answer and no yadia STDs. Who will do some yadia bia. Ya better it at the amount. Was your massaging any physiotherapy or more diagnostic machines. This is the pedium. Sounds na ultra scan. Oh,
Health Alert Organic Shop on so honmua organic products and Kwa and Omoto honum. Shisha Yatrakwai. Ewo Madina Post Office. Your First Atlantic Bank no echi honmua. Ewo Enkrai.
Freying. Ewo 0242 518893 and now 0242 518865. Health Alert Clinic. Go Heba.
Welcome back. This is the morning update on TV XYZ. It's also available on Facebook and YouTube. All you have to do is to look for Wezo TV or TV XYZ and follow us on social media. And so if you started the breakfast with us and you are still with us, I can advise that you can set off towards the office. All you have to do is to relax at the back of your car and then take your phone or your tablet, go to YouTube, follow us on Wezo or TV XYZ or maybe Facebook, and call friends to join this conversation. The text line by WhatsApp is 0556 999 999. 0556 999 999. You can also send it to the other number you have always known, those of us who have been monitoring our conversations since last year, 020 866 7000. 020 866 7000. This is the newspaper headline segment. Dr. Ali Duseidu, who is a senior political science lecturer at the University of Ghana, was supposed to be with us. I've just had information that he's had a little challenge and cannot be with us. Would try to raise him on phone. Lawyer Eduji Tamaklo, who is a member of the NDC legal team, will also join us later in the conversation. Now, this morning, there's a lot of things we have to chew. Parliament will be vetting ministerial nominees. A lot of controversial issues have come up. Petitions have been sent to the committee. They've been received. We don't know how they are going to table them before the appointees when they take their turns. Apart from that, the Supreme Court was also another area a lot of Ghanaians paid attention to. I drove around town yesterday between 10 and 12, and almost every area where I could hear something on radio, it was following the Supreme Court proceedings. It means a lot of Ghanaians are monitoring what is going on. And what is even more important for anybody who is interested to take note of is that Ghanaians are divided. The nation is polarized. Some people are happy, others are very angry. And how cases are managed will determine how we all move together, especially when there is satisfaction in the adjudication processes. But it is too early yet because we've not gone towards the middle of whatever is happening at the Supreme Court. We can only listen to the lawyers on both sides and take what you want or what I want. And then we follow proceedings and make our own judgments at our own level and leave the rest to the bench. This morning, we'll be looking at that one as well. I'm sure you listened to the Okada Drivers PRO, the National Association. He sounded very convincing, and I was impressed because all of us have had a lot of controversial perceptions about these people. I'll be speaking to lawyer Eduji Tamaklo, but before then, I want us to listen to Chachuchi Kata and his engagement in court yesterday.
The leader of such a public office cannot be held to account by being cross-examined after she herself has given a witness statement. Then, my lords, with the greatest respect, we would be posing grave dangers to the Republic. Because the holders of important offices can shield themselves from accountability by saying in every case that we will not allow ourselves to be cross-examined and nobody can do anything about it. And what I submitted earlier, and which ties into this point that I'm making, is that if it were not for the fact that she is the representative who has sworn a witness statement on behalf of the first respondent, it would be open to us to ask the court for a subpoena to have her testify. So, my lords, we respectfully submit that in the circumstances that we are faced with here, with this particular holder of this particularly singular office that is supposed to make a determination that reflects the sovereign will of the voters of Ghana in an election, which is what democracy is all about. It is our respectful submission that that constitutional obligation cannot be set aside by subsidiary legislation or by reliance on subsidiary legislation. It cannot. Every legislation that we've talked about, CI 87, CI 47, and I mean, none of that can set aside the sacred public duty of this chairperson and the need to account for that public duty where the forum demands it. And my lords, this is a forum that demands it. My lords, reference has been made by my learned friend to the case of Arma versus hydrophone. And that was indeed a Supreme Court decision in 2012. The decision read by Justice Brayning and a court that comprised various justices, including your Lordship, the Chief Justice. Now, my Lord, that case has absolutely no application to the circumstances that we.
And so you heard excerpts of court proceedings yesterday. This is always live on TVXYZ, Wezo TV, and several other platforms, especially for those who follow us. And so there's no need to play as long as it should be, just to remind you of the conversation. But fortunately, we have a member of the NDC's legal team who has always been in court. It's called Eduji Tamaklo. Good morning, Eduji.
Good morning, my brother, and good morning to your listeners.
Yes, and we are so grateful that you have made it to speak to us. First, walk us through this banter that we always witness in court. Yesterday, Chachu stood on his feet for close to 2.5 hours, and the object was to argue his case in court to convince the bench to allow Jean Mensa to speak, to be cross-examined. The respondent didn't spend much time speaking to the court. What could have been the reason? And walk us through the reasoning after you stepped out yesterday.
No. I mean, the reasoning will be that of the court. But as you are aware, after the petition was filed, an answer was also filed. And incidentally, the person who signed the answer happened to be the Electoral Commission chairperson. Not only that, she also provided what we call affidavit verifying the fact in the answer. Now, we say we have closed our case. Now, remember that we brought an application for interrogatories that was determined on the 19th of January. In that application, we sought to administer some 12 questions on the chairperson. That application was opposed. They filed an affidavit in opposition, and in one of them deposed to the fact that we will have the opportunity under cross-examination to put those questions across. And again, she deposed to the application. She signed it herself. And several other depositions. You remember when we sought leave of the court to inspect document again, he said, look, under cross-examination, you can put these matters to me, among other things. And so these are matters that are already on record before the court. And so the suggestion that though at this point, they will not, quote unquote, permit her to come and testify quite clearly raises an issue. And we are saying that the chairperson of the Electoral Commission is performing a constitutional responsibility. It's not just an ordinary land matter or debt recovery matter. This is at the heart of our democracy. The mandate of the people. The mandate of the people. And even for the image of the Electoral Commission. Eric, imagine another election done and the president is checked that you can do anything, and once an issue comes up, you can say, I won't come and testify. You would have basically said that an Electoral Commission person can do whatever he wants. Whatever he wants. Basically above reproach. And we do know that in this country, there is only one returning officer as far as presidential election is concerned. No other returning officer. Only one. So the whole idea of cross-examination is to probe probity in the Constitution. Is to accountability. Is to show openness. And that is why these principles, they are the very building blocks around which the 1992 Constitution, we weaved it around these building blocks. Probity, accountability, transparency, openness. Key fundamental constitutional principle. So, like we all witnessed yesterday, my lords have indicated that tomorrow they will give a ruling on this all-important matter, whether the chairperson of the Electoral Commission would mount the witness board for the purposes of ensuring probity, accountability, and a demonstrable issue of fairness. Fundamental.
Edigi, you've made a good submission, but others may disagree on the fact that you went to court and you have to prove your case. I monitored the conversation and somebody wrote this on his
You remember?
Edigi, 1 second. I'm landing on my question. And the person's post reads, guerrilla tactics is when you go to court without evidence and try to adduce evidence on someone's account to strengthen your case. This person obviously maybe supports the respondent that it is not necessary. You don't need Jane Mensah. How do you react to this?
In reading that, I see a lot of ignorance packaged as knowledge, regrettably. You see, on Monday, when the spokespersons of the respondents, the second respondent came out, they said they were making a submission of no case. You heard them?
I did.
Yesterday in court, have you seen they are running away from the question of submission of no case? In fact, they openly told the court that they are not making a submission of no case. In fact, if you saw, there was an exchange of a law report from Mr. Chikata to them. You saw that?
Yes, we did.
Good. Because there is a case in that particular report that deals with the issue of submission of no. And they were saying that no, they are not doing a submission of no case. Then Mr. Chikata said, your application that you brought under Order 36 and Order 38, it does not give you the opportunity because it talks about you electing. That election, you have been put to an election. Having been put to an election, you go ahead to file your witness statement and everything is done. Now you do a 360 degree and said no. So whoever it is that sent that whatever write-up possibly is under the mistaken belief that what the respondents are doing is a submission of no case.
Eduji, we know
are running away from that.
Many people have expressed their own opinion about proceedings, and some are harboring the fear that along the line you may want to chicken out if you think things are not going the way you want. Please, can you clarify for this for us, because we've heard Marietta Briopong.
No, but what do you want to put that issue here now?
Okay, Eduji, what I'm saying is Marietta Briopong Appiah has assured the NDC supporters and Ghanaians in general that they are still hoping that the court will continue the processes till it ends, which is what we all know will happen, and that the NDC will pursue it to the last letter.
When did she say that?
She said this, I think, last Friday when you addressed the media. She said the NDC will pursue the case to the last letter.
Remember that what has happened from Friday, everything has changed. So please, you wait after tomorrow. We'll take it out from there, one thing at a time.
Eduji, we are so grateful. What would you leave with your members before we take leave of you?
First of all, we have presented a very solid case before the Supreme Court of Ghana. We have demonstrated through our witnesses the changing figures of the Electoral Commission. In fact, it is instructive to note that even under cross-examination, when colleagues of my senior Akoto Ampao told him that he should confront Professor White with the EC figures, he did not take it kindly at all. Question, what is it about the figures of the Electoral Commission that a witness cannot be confronted with? I mean, it works even to the image of the Electoral Commission that we put things in their proper perspective. I am very confident that let justice, in fact substantial justice, prevail ultimately. That's what I can say for now.
Eduji, we are so grateful for your time.
Take care.
Thank you. Thank you. So Eduji Tamaklo is a member of the NDC's legal team. I told you Dr. Ali Diseidu was supposed to join us this morning. We are sorry to share with you that he cannot be with us because of some emergency he had. But fortunately, we have a political researcher with us. He's called Eugene Eshen Elliott. I want to introduce him at this time and welcome him to the studios. Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
TVXYZ is happy that even with a short notice, you have been able to make it.
It's part of the job, and as soldiers, we move everywhere to make Ghana better. So I'm happy to be here.
Thank you. And you are also live on Wazor TV, and I'm sure those watching us can also join the conversation later. We just had a conversation with lawyer Eduji Tamaklo, obviously stating their side of the argument that indeed, if the EC chair does not avail herself for cross-examination, she would have been doing a great disservice to the state. I have a petition somebody wrote to the Chief Justice The name of the lady is Marie A. Buedu, and I want to read excerpts just to take you to another side of the conversation. It says, "My name is Marie Amwakwa Buedu. I am a Ghanaian citizen resident in the UK. I am writing to you via social media to appeal to you and your colleague, Lord and Lady Justices, to consider putting Jean Mensah, the only returning officer of the 2020 elections in Ghana, the only electoral commissioner in Ghana, Jean Adukwe Mensah, into the witness box to be cross-examined. Ghanaians all over the world deserve answers for the numerous questions we have that have cast serious doubt on the election results. It is imperative that your court notes that she is and has a responsibility to Ghanaians per the mandate we tasked her to do the December 7 elections. She has subsequently declared 6 figures pertaining to the elections which are all wrong and has thrown the entire country into a state of bewilderment whereby nobody, I believe, including yourself, knows the exact figure per which the President Nana Akufo-Addo was elected as president. This is constitutional matter in terms of breaching Article 63.3, and we, including our millennials in the diaspora, are all concerned about the gross errors and want to get to the bottom of it." Now she leaves with a few concerns. So now it says, also Ghana potentially becomes a one-party state, meaning our democracy is gone, corruption increases, we the citizens will have no choice than to begin to direct our attention to the international community. Ghana has no legacy in fighting corruption. We set ourselves up for potential problems of unrest in the country. What I know for sure, we will not allow that to happen as citizens of Ghana, and it goes on and on. I've just paraphrased the last part of the concern she raised. I monitored some conversations on social media, and Professor Kweku Azar, for example, put this out yesterday, and it was quite insightful. And this one was referring to proceedings and raised questions about what is likely to linger. And it says, one of those times when common sense, law, and justice point to the same conclusion. It is hard to see why election petitions exist if one cannot discover information or cross-examine the returning officer, who is the person charged with declaring the election outcome. Frankly, this is not an interesting issue and should be resolved routinely. But this is Ghana, where #Soul Citizens are directed not to take part in parliamentary elections on the eve of an election, the year, and that is Professor Kweku Asare. Now, Kofi Bentil, and I'm making reference to these people because they are influential people in society and they have made at least some contribution towards public discourse in shaping policy. Kofi Bentil says, the law and justice are not the same. Often, the law is used to subvert justice. And then there were other posts that I took screenshots of. Now, with all these things that are happening, where do you think we should be heading towards?
Okay. Mr. Nyayo, right?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. Thank you so much. Yeah, I think that the last post you read by Mr. Bentil sums up the whole thing. You see, out there, wherever you may be, you have a side. And depending on where you stand and the way you look at it. But you see, the bench, yesterday I had the opportunity to be talking to some people, and I told them that fortunately there were people who are on the petitioner side and NDC side. So they were like, the bench is biased, the bench. I said no.
That is their perception.
That's their perception, because you see, there is the law and there is the justice. If you go to court and you don't get what you want, you feel like you didn't get justice. But then there is the law. The law as in what is supposed to be done. For instance, in football, we have something we say, the last man. So if the last man, you hold the shirt, you touch his knee, to the referee, that's a foul. You must say it's not fair. But who decides what is fair? You understand? Who decides what is fair? Once you are the last man, you are the last man. And so the referee will take the foul. If it goes against you, it's bad. If it goes in your favor, good day, and all that. And that's what we are seeing today. But I like the kind of petitions and the responses people are giving to all this, it's good in a way, but at the end of the day, somebody will say there is the nice to have and there is the what it is to do. Okay, so maybe at this point the bench is trying to do what is to do. What are we looking at and all that? But then the nice to have is what everybody is asking. And I belong to that kind of school that says that this case is very simple. This case is very simple. Okay, this is what these guys are alleging. This is what these guys are also defending. It's so nice to have had the woman in the chairperson, as it were, in the box to answer. For instance, the examples raised here that, okay, you declare some figures on the 9th, some figures on the 10th, some on 15th, the gazetted, and then even in the response to the NDC, different figures altogether. What is the right thing? I feel that it's possible. People say, okay, the petitioner side should have brought their papers. And I ask, police station XYZ, there was a figure, 1 + 1 + 1 + 1 + 1 should equal to 5. They made it 7. It was realized at the strong room that 1 + 1 + 1 + 1 should be 5, but they made it 7. So it was corrected there, making 5. If you ask me to bring my pink sheet I have for Radio XYZ is 7. What you have corrected there is 5. If I base my figures on what I have, it's wrong. So what you have there is the right thing.
But is there any evidence? Because whatever goes to the headquarters before declaration is made, we all know would depend on final corrections made either at the polling station or the constituency or regional level.
No, you see that in the witness by Dr. Roger Metununu and then Dr. Professor White, they all attested to the fact that some figures came and they were wrong and calls were made to correct them. My point is that the pink sheet with the agent at the polling station will not be, the correction will not be effected on that pink sheet. Not even at the one at the constituency collation center, neither at the region, but the correction was done at the one in the strong room. So if there were some mistakes, let's say at the polling station, which was not detected and it was signed upon, at the strong room, maybe that mistake was identified and corrected because Dr. Professor White says the electoral officers made calls to region that they were correcting them. But as to who they called, and whether those corrections were effected, he's not aware. So my point is that it would have been nice for the EC to say, okay, or the court to compel the EC that, okay, bring all your figures based on which you had this figure and on which you appointed or declared Nanado as president. So that we see, maybe all what people are saying might even be wrong.
So you belong to the school of thought that it will serve the interest of everybody if Mensa is allowed into the witness box.
Exactly. For me, that's my view. But then there's also the law part. Like we said, there's the law and the justice. There's also the law part. If the justice see that, well, you brought your case. You said if everything works together, the president will not have gained the 50+1. In court, you've not been able to prove beyond reasonable doubt why that assertion or why that belief. And so there's no point in continuing the case. It's also a strategy because every lawyer goes to court with a strategy. So, like if you see from where all these posts and petitions are coming from, the ones you read, they are all not saying that it is unlawful for the woman not to be in the box.
Maybe there are messages that puts a smile on your face.
No, that's what I'm saying, that they are all not saying that it is wrong that the woman says they would. But they are saying,
let me draw your attention to the other side of the argument, that they raised human rights issues.
Which
but then
the court says
they also raised issues about the possibility of a subpoena.
Yeah.
What do you anticipate?
No, that's what I'm saying, that in all what others are saying, they are not saying that Madam J. Mensah not coming to the box is a wrong. It's not a wrong. It's her right. Like the one of the justices asked Chachu, do you know that there's a possibility that we can put Madam J. Mensah in the box and she can say she won't answer anything? It's her right. You
but
can't
she
take
can
it
be
from
compelled
her.
to do that.
No,
because Chachu Chikata.
No, you can compel her into the box. That's why in other states, for instance, in America and all that, you would say, I take the fifth. It's her right. I can decide not to talk. And remember what they are saying. I have already given a witness statement. base whatever decision you want on that witness statement. For me to talk, it's my right to talk. I can decide I won't talk. I've given a written statement. Judge whatever you want.
We are not lawyers, but from the other angle you are sharing with us as we continue the conversation, what do you think will be the reasoning among Ghanaians if she should enter the witness box and decide that no matter how many questions Chachu puts to her, she won't talk?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Because I doubt it will happen.
No, you see.
Because you look very funny.
You see, so whilst we are on TV, you see, and then we are talking to a lot of people and stuff, we shouldn't sort of make them feel like I don't want them to get a wrong impression. What I'm even trying to say is that not that we won't go there. You see, when you go to court, there are two things: either you win or you lose. You could be genuinely innocent, but because of your strategy in court, you may lose and go home. And so, what I'm just trying to say is that yes, in the minds of the public opinion will be that why would she sit in the box and decide not to talk? But then, if the education is out there that it's also a legal right that I can go there and not talk, it's also fine. That was why when Council
we will try to raise a lawyer because part of the conversation may sound like commentary. Others may seek some better education in the form of legal sharing of legal knowledge. So I'm sure my producers will try to raise a certain lawyer to help us with this area.
I'm also attempting some law, so I have this. For instance, even when Mr. Chachu was asked, if eventually it's ruled out that she won't sit, what would you say? So we will still proceed with our case because they know that it's her right actually. And that's why at this point you are making a plea. You are trying to convince the bench that yes, even though it's her right, these are the reasons why
I'm sure if you listen to proceedings yesterday, this issue about it's a right is just one aspect of the argument.
Yes.
And you'd realize that Chachu did not just plead.
Yeah.
He made reference to a lot of authorities and precedents that he used to back why she should be there. And then in his presentation, he also raised that conditionality, that assuming that she even wants to go to the extent of saying that, okay, it's my right and so on, they can trigger the subpoena clause act, because he also made reference to an aspect of the Constitution and said a subsidiary cannot override what the Constitution actually mandates. We are not lawyers, but let's leave it to them.
Exactly.
And then you can also join us later, 0556 999 999. Today, ministerial nominees will appear before the appointment committee. I don't know what in your own mind, what you think will happen. But some say today it may be a very smooth ride because the health minister may not have too many problems. Kandapa may not have too many problems. But I have seen petitions against them. I'll share some of those petitions when we return shortly. But I want to help you remind yourself of one thing, that if you are sick, if you have chronic diabetes or chronic hypertension, if you have stroke or numbness, if, for example, you have a burning sensation or issues related to typhoid and so on, dizziness, white, and you can't sleep, just remember that there is a solution, and that is Health Alert Clinic. As I tell you about the sponsorship they are giving us, I also want you to understand that people have tried. There's so much testimony. Look for Health Alert Clinic and they'll solve your health problems. X Natural Mineral Water is also our partner. And remember, 60% of your body needs water, especially if you take it early morning, first thing in the morning. For bulk purchases, just keep watching our screens. You'll see the numbers and where to go for the bulk purchases. When we return after this break, we'll walk into the vetting committee processes.
Ifo kra na menyisika. Edia ye mefui.
Ehin fa pa na menya bosia ɛde atre me dwuma yi mu.
Kai kra mabre mi ebusia ato taxi foforo. Suhum Rural Bank.
Suhum Rural Bank.
Yɛma akɔ ababa Suhum Rural Bank. Yɛwɔ nhyehyɛ ahodoɔ bi te sɛ dwadifoɔ bosia, akuokuo bosia, susu account, anidasoɔ wɔ hɔ savings account, mebada chain savings account, ɛne deɛ keka ho. Frɛ Suhum Rural Bank wɔ 034229186. Na wɔn nso wetumi aka sɛ
Suhum Rural Bank ama ene mayeka una.
Suhum Rural Bank enti me pa minie.
Suhum Rural Bank, growing our heritage.
Welcome to AutoCheck Vehicle Diagnostic and Licensing Center.
I hear my car can be checked here without going to so many hour crash.
Sure.
Check, auto checks, check, auto checks, check.
Emission, check.
Auto checks.
Alignment, check.
Auto checks, auto checks.
Brakes, check. Visit AutoChecks at Koforodia Aquadum Road for the roadworthiness of your vehicle, from saloon cars to heavy-duty industrial vehicles. Madam, your car is now ready for the road.
Thank you so much.
Auto checks.
Auto checks, check.
AutoChecks, your safety, our priority.
Check, auto checks.
Welcome. This is the newspaper review segment of Morning Update on TVXYZ and Wizard TV. Facebook, YouTube is where you can catch us on social media. This morning, I'm doing the conversation with a political researcher, and his name is Eugene Ishen Elliott. We just wrapped up on the Supreme Court proceedings. Now, the appointment committee is starting its work maybe from this afternoon. It is open to the public, and there are lots of petitions already out. I have a few of them to share with you. But I've always been asking people who join me whenever we have to talk about this, what are your own expectations, even before we look at some specifics of petitions that are out already?
Okay, you see, personally, I have certain opinions, personal opinions about this whole thing and stuff. But in my line of researching and seeing the political landscape and the kind of games they play and all that, I see this process, like you rightly mentioned at the beginning, that the first 3 nominees that are going to be there are going to have it a bit cool. There will be the usual petitions, there will be the usual kind of things being thrown into the wheels or the spokes, as it were, of these nominees. But then I think by and large they will sail through, especially where we are now. There may be some candidates who we think that they might have some issues, especially with the fact that over the time they've gotten entangled in some kind of issues, and that will come up fiercely. But then out there is also that discussion out there that these political guys tend to rub each other's back, and though we are going to see a scene, by and large, at the end of the day, everybody might sail through, because the parties will be so deep-seated. Even though they are not supposed to do, they are going to be very deep-seated in their approach to these vetting things. Already, we've heard signals from the minority side being said that they've been treated with some bad faith issues and stuff, and so they are going to sit there out. Last night, I got some calls from some people trying to say that there is some kind of negotiation and bargaining behind the scenes, trying to get the minority side to play along so that government business can just proceed along and say. So I would say that, but let's see, especially we have about 3 or 4 that we know that it's going to be hot. But then already the majority side has also pointed out to us that if push comes to shove, they're also going to trigger certain things that will send the thing to the plenary, where they think that if they're able to talk well, they will have the numbers to get it out.
I just want to look at some of the petitions. I've seen one from a lady who was raising issues about the health minister. I've seen one from the one of the labor unions, and I've seen this one from Governance Watch. It will pop up on your screen, but this one from Governance Watch is making reference to a number of the appointees. If you look at the screen, you see Ken Ofori-Atta, Mr. Albert Kandapa, Eslo Usu, Godfred Yabu-Adame, Dominic Nitiwul, Afriye Akoto, who is a doctor, Minister Designate for Agriculture, Hawa Kumsen, and Mr. Kwesi Amuako Atta. There is another one somebody also sent me earlier this morning, which is making reference to one of the ministers. I'll go to that. But this one from Governance Watch, after the reference to these public officials, it states specifically some of the issues they have. For example, below are the valid reasons for putting forward the challenging the approval of the case against Mr. Ken Ofori-Atta. And in this one, it talks about in the revelations contained in the corruption risk assessment conducted by the Special Prosecutor's Office of the fraudulent Ejapa deal saga, it was revealed that the finance minister was directly involved in awarding some contracts to Data Bank, which he had an interest through bid rigging. Similar allegations were made during the issuance of bonds with his company, which his company benefited directly. And it talks about Mr. Ken Ofori-Atta and his involvement in PDS deal, among others. But today, because they are going to vet the Minister Designate for National Security, Kandapa, and that of the Minister of Health, I want to limit the conversation and the petition to them. Now, in the case of Mr. Kandapa, it says, who is also Minister for National Security, it was during his tenure that this country witnessed the high rate of insecurity in the country. Below are some of the unfortunate activities that occurred under his watch, but however responded incompetently. During his leadership in office as National Security Minister, the country witnessed the missing of the 3 girls from Takrady. The state failed under his watch to investigate and prosecute successfully the individuals who perpetuated this heinous crime. The killing of an undercover journalist, Ahmed Swale, happened during his tenure as we speak, and no proper investigation has been done. He also sanctioned and supervised the brutality that happened during the Ayawaso West Wagon by-elections. Are these petitions or issues raised strong enough to deny somebody like Kandapa a ministerial position?
In fact, in a better country, Kandapa would not have lasted throughout the 4 years, even let alone to come again for reappointment in that same capacity, because, but believe you me, he failed miserably. He failed miserably, starting very right from the start with the Ayawaso thing. After that issue, he should have been kicked out of government. But this is where we are as a country, where it's a matter of where you belong and who you worship to keep your position and to be there. And then the missing girls, very, very, very sad story. But now we are told that they are in court. As we speak, I think last week's the case is still ongoing in Takrady, I believe, and that
the judgment is next month.
The judgment is next month. Yes, it's ongoing. But it was a total fiasco that shouldn't have happened. And then the infamous kind of bad spot on our country where a journalist was slain, and as we speak, nothing has happened and all that. We've seen all that. I mean, I think that, like I said, but for partisan purposes, Ken shouldn't even be going there today, as it were, because he has no reason to be there. But you see, we are in a country where we don't allow our morals to actually be our compass. And so that is what happens in this country. Because for me, I find it very, very disturbing to even see Ken appearing there at this stage. And in the case of the health minister, for a country that we're all told that we're ahead of the virus. You saw what happened in America when Dr. Fauci and the others, when they went against the presidency, they actually resigned. Because why they are telling you the right thing and then the presidency is not allowing it, they chose to let the people know that, look, from my professional opinion, this is the way to go. But
is it not that we are over-exaggerating some of the concerns we have? Because Ghana indeed was one of the countries which had records of the virus and the rise. And we also hear that Ghana has been receiving pat on the back for properly managing COVID. I've seen publications, unless it is not true, which comes with reference to WHO and other bodies. Within the sub-region, the rate of infection is relatively okay compared to countries which are recording, let's say, 5,000 a day, 10,000 a day, with about 500 people plus dying every day. And so, yes, Ghana cannot isolate itself, but to blame everything on one individual because of an appointment is far-fetched.
Mr. Yanyo, you see, I like where you started, you said all this, but the question we are asking is that what WHO and other countries that rated Ghana as good and all that did so on a certain premise. Is that premise the truth? Was that premise submitted to them the truth? Today, I didn't know we were coming. I would have shown you something. Another WHO expert is saying that African countries, their leaders, they lied from the beginning. They lied about figures, they lied about data, they got all the money that they were supposed to get, and then they went to spend it. And now suddenly they are overwhelmed by what is the reality. That time that they were telling us that we had 3 and stuff, was it really the truth? The figures that they were giving. Remember, we're in this country when people were saying that, no, the figure is being massaged. They are not giving us the true figure of issues. And why was they doing so? I remember very well, around March thereabout, I had friends in the hospitals who were telling me, Eugene, this case is more than you are thinking. We are being asked not to give the figures out. The figures have to. Why is it that at a hospital, if let's say 10 people are tested positive, it has to go through Ministry of Health before it's said out?
But those are just protocols.
No, that's what I'm saying.
Because what I understand from the presentation they made was that we can't have figures coming from all
everywhere.
Over. There should be a central point where we can track the figures and use it to manage our operations.
So if I send out a figure to that center that I had 100 cases here, and the next thing I hear on the news is that we have 70 cases, I should be concerned. Because at that point, what people were saying was that the communication was being managed for the picture to look good. And that was what was able to allow us to go into a registration exercise. That was that because of that perception, that picture that was given out, oh, we're good, we have managed the thing, everything is nice. That was what made the country felt, oh, okay, then it's good. We can go into elections, we can go into campaigning, we can go into that. And then suddenly, we are being told that we are overwhelmed.
Yesterday, the minority in parliament called for the dissolution of the COVID-19 Technical Advisory Committee. Some think that it is another politics that is emerging. They are referencing the infectious disease center that has been built at the Gan East hospital. They are making reference to several other initiatives government has embarked on, including the COVID-19 relief packages. And they think that so far not bad. And so for anybody to suggest that that technical team, which is headed by a former WHO boss, it's not fair. What's your position on this?
What is the ultimate goal? I want you to give me 100. Even if you give me 99, you have failed.
How can 99 be a failure?
It's a failure. What was my target? In project management, we call something Sigma levels. The Sigma level. I've given you. I want you to bring. No, I want you to bring me. No, I want you to bring me a bottom.
The Sigma levels at 99 cannot.
No, that's what I'm saying. That. My target was that go and bring me natural mineral water.
Well, I'm told they want to. Okay, so. Briefly, I cut in. I think there is a little problem with his how he sounds on air. So let's talk about X Natural Mineral Water now at this time. This product is always available. Remember that you can always stay healthy if you take more water, and so make sure that you remind yourself take X Natural Mineral Water I got some information that he was choking along the line, and I'm happy that ex-natural mineral water is very handy. How did you feel after taking it?
It feels good.
Say something about it. I like it. It says it's good. So I was a bit confused, and so now we know it.
Yeah.
Let's continue.
Mr. Yayo, the point is that there is always a standard. If standards are not important, then they shouldn't even be set. So, for instance, yes, we have this COVID committee and all that. What has been the result? Now, as we speak as a country, we are overwhelmed. In fact, we are even being told that even currently as we are, even the figures that we are being given now is actually not even accurate. And that, look, we sit here and people call and say our hospitals are full and all that. But do you see anything being said about it in the public space? Because it's all about managing the situation, trying to make we say we shouldn't spread the fear, but rather we should spread the
So that is with the health minister.
We shouldn't spread the fear.
That is with the health minister. So in your opinion, there are begging questions that must be addressed
for instance,
when the committee sits.
Yes, because what happened that for a country that when we had just 3 cases, we were locked down for 3 months or so. Now we have more than 1,000 cases, and then we are open out there. What accounts for it? What is the decision behind it and all that? So for the health minister, that is also going to be a very big dent.
I made reference to Kandapa and issues raised, and the reference was about the Kadi missing girls, Ahmed Swale, the violence we witnessed during the Ayawaso West Wagon by-election, and so on. I remember there were recommendations in the Emil Short Commission report,
which was
a lot of people are asking if they have been implemented to the letter. Would you want this to spring up when he appears before the committee later this afternoon?
Bro, it's not a matter of whether it's surely going to spring up.
I read it a while ago, but for those who are monitoring us,
he can't run away from it. It's really going to come up.
The issues raised against Kandapa are 3. 1, during his leadership as in office as National Security Minister, the country witnessed the missing of the 3 girls from Takrady. The state failed under his watch to investigate and prosecute successfully the individuals who perpetuated this heinous crime. The killing of the undercover journalist Ahmed Swale happened during his tenure. As we speak, no proper investigation has been done, and he has sanctioned and supervised the brutality that happened during the Ayawaso West Wagon by-election. Nana Obri Buahin is Deputy General Secretary of the NPP on the line. Nana, good morning and thanks for joining TVXYZ morning update.
Yeah, good morning, my brother.
I hope you are fine.
Oh, yes.
Are you talking to us from your home base, Bono? Is it
Bono? No. I'm in Accra.
Okay.
I've been in Accra for some days now.
Okay. Happy you are in Accra.
No, but yesterday even I was at Union TV.
Oh, okay. And this is TVXYZ. I hope.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes.
One day I'll come.
In fact, we need you because Ghanaians love your. I spoke to Edwiji Tamaklo a while ago, and he thinks that if there's nothing to hide, there should be no debate about Jim Mensah and cross-examination.
Tell Edwiji Tamaklo, my old friend, tell him that. Are you listening?
I'm listening.
Somebody went to court, and the name of that individual is John Mahama. His beef was that he had been shortchanged by the Electoral Commission of Ghana to favor somebody known as Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo. That person who went to court organized galaxy of lawyers, eminent lawyers. Ironically, surprisingly, strangely to relate, that person by the name John Mahama never filed a witness statement. That individual by the name John Mahama never mounted the box. His lawyer told the whole world that they have closed their case. Yes, you can make submission of no case in several cases. Now, if you are asking Jim Mensah or a representative of EC or Nana Addo or his attorney to man the box. The question is that the man who dragged all of them to court, where is he? Where is he? Where is he? Where is he? The man who dragged them to court didn't file a witness statement. The man who mounted the action never mounted the boss to testify. So the whole thing is like a theatrical display. It's like a cantata show.
And Nana Obibuahi, Nana, can you hear me? Nana, I wanted to ask a follow-up question, and it's very simple. You are the EC chair. You have organized an election. And I'm sure you listened to Chachichukata when he told the bench that, yes, the NDC have their own figures, and they want to see whether what EC has is what really was what informed the declaration she made. Now, the question is, if the EC has nothing to hide, why would you be saying John Mahama must mount the witness box before EC does?
Yes, because the position of the law is that he who assesses must prove it. He who assesses must prove it. The position of the law is that there's a presumption of regularity. When the EC announced that Nanado, or the EC declared Nanado as the winner, there is that presumption that virtually they have gone through all the stages and all the steps, and there is a strict adherence to the statutes and constitutional provisions. If you are saying that, look, the declaration was done in violation of the constitution and statutes, you who is asserting it must be in the box. We are talking law.
Nana Obibuahi, you are a lawyer, a respected lawyer. I want to put you on the spot. Let's turn the table round. The MPP is declared losers of an election where the EC chair announces the results more than 8 times. The MPP is in court. The MPP is demanding that the EC chair should present the details of all the documents that she collated as results. It's denied. The MPP wants to cross-examine the EC chair to ask specific questions, and the NDC, which has been declared winner, says no. How will Nana Obibuahi, as a member of NPP's legal team, if this is the scenario, react?
This is the scenario is simple. When NPP goes to court, the NPP is saying that something unconstitutional has taken place, and that the NPP must mount the box to tell the whole world that ABC, MPP, a legal entity. So Nana Obibuahi can be in the box, the General Secretary can be in the box, the Chairman can be in the box. MPP, legal entity. When you mount the box and you're able to prove a certain standard, then the EC will come. But when the man individual, single individual, we call him John Mahama.
Nana Obibuahi, you have not answered my question. I said,
I am answering your question.
If the EC...
The single individual, we call him John Mahama, dragged the EC to... Assuming that Obibuahi took the EC...
No, if you say John Mahama, what you have done is that you are turning the question. I'm saying that the scenario is the other way around. No, how will you react?
Listen, there's a difference between MPP as a party, NDC as a party, John Mahama as an individual, Nana Akufo-Addo as an individual. There's a vast difference. So don't confuse yourself with that.
It was Nanado, because the scenario I've created is to make it look like, assuming MPP was at the other side, are you going to react the same way and say that there's no reason?
The position of the law has never changed. The position of the law since the creation of Adam and Eve has been that he who assesses must prove it. Since the creation of Adam and Eve, the position of the law is that he who assesses. So if Nana Obibuahi goes to court to tell the court that in respect of elections which were conducted, I've been cheated, I've been shortchanged, Nana Obribuahin, even Nana Obribuahin mounts the box, or Nana Obribuahin prepares Paul Fatoni for an individual to testify. In this scenario, the man, John Mahama, never filed a witness statement. The man, John Mahama, never mounted the witness box. There is no burden on the side of Nana Adodankwa Akufo-Addo or the Electoral Commission to mount the box to prove.
Nana Obribuahin, are you listening to me?
I am.
Yes, I'm saying that the NDC legal team is not even bothered about whether McMenu will be in the witness box or otherwise. They are saying that we want the EC to mount the witness box for questions.
No,
why is it that you are saying that Mahama must enter the witness box?
Mahama must enter the witness box because it is Mahama who took the action to court.
Okay, so last question, Nana Obribuahin. Yesterday, when the NPP's legal team, those who speak for Nana Akufo-Addo, addressed the media, they gave an indication that, after all, Peter McMenu is willing and NPP is ready to put him in the witness box if the Supreme Court so decides that Jane Mensah must go ahead. So you are saying no, and then at the same time you are giving a certain condition. Why?
What the legal team said, they were talking about morality, political expedience. I am talking law, speaking law, hammering law, driving home law. The law is that there is no burden on Jane Mensah to man the boss. You have gone to court to accept that there were serious aberrations of the statutes and the Constitution. You must prove it. The man who must prove it, John Mahama, they call him John Mahama, single individual. This is an action in persona, one person.
Okay.
May God forbid, if the man dies today, the action has ended.
Okay, so Nana Obribuahin, you must also understand that law also works with morality, and that is why the bench does not always reason on law.
Law is law, morality is morality.
So
I'm talking law.
So how would you feel? Because if the general perception, as many of your legal partners are putting across, that you don't leave or walk away in judging a case with a lot of suspicion around it.
How I feel is that they are making political statements. They are not making legal statements. They are making political statements. They are playing to the gallery. They are not talking law. They are not speaking law. They are not educating people in law. They are playing to the gallery. We lawyers don't play to the gallery. We talk law, we eat law, we drink law, we do law.
And of course, you sleep on law.
Yes, you see.
Thank you.
It's very honest and sincere. The fact that they didn't prepare witness statement for President Mahama, the fact that they didn't allow President Mahama to mount the witness box, then the case is destroyed. So I am being honest with you, my brother. So I am not talking politics.
So is this reasoning based on precedent that in 2013 Nana Akufo-Addo did not mount the witness box?
Once again, let me educate you. 2013, 3 people sued Adodankwa Akufo-Addo, Bawumia, Jake Obesebe-Lamke. 3 people sued. 1 person mounted the box. He swore by the Quran, my name is Bawumia. I am one of the petitioners. I swear by the Allah that the evidence I shall give shall be the truth, the whole truth.
Nothing but the truth.
So help me Allah.
Okay.
Then the lawyer started by saying, what is your name? Okay. I am Mumuni Bawumia. Listen, you are one of the petitioners, yes. In what capacity are you testifying? I am testifying for myself and the 2 other petitioners.
Okay, I think that we don't have much time, but this...
We have time. It's only that some of you have decided not to listen to the truth.
No,
the whole truth.
Nothing but the truth. But Nana Obribuahin, just before you go, I just want to help you to understand that this program ends at 9 o'clock. As we speak, It is 8:53.
You have been, all of you, with due respect, are being misled by the lawyers who are talking politics, but they are not talking law.
Okay, I'm sure we'll find time because this process will continue for a little while, and maybe
it should not continue. The law says that he who, you see, a weak petitioner's case is not sentenced by the availability or non-availability of a respondent to mount the box. Listen, record it. A weak petitioner's case is not in any way whatsoever strengthened by the availability or non-availability of a respondent to mount the witness box.
Okay, Nana Obribuahin, I can assure you that we'll find time to engage you in the studio to make it even more exciting. So I'll prepare for that, and then we'll give you advance notice.
My friend Edwazita Makolo, that I am saying he's a good friend of mine. But this particular situation, with due respect to my good friend Edwazita Makolo, who would always continue to be my friend, and Kodovi, they are my good friend. The failure to allow Mahama to prepare a witness statement, the failure to allow Mahama to man the box was dangerous, disingenuous, and disservice to Mahama.
Okay, so I think at this stage...
It was dangerous, it was disingenuous, and a great disservice to the man from Mahama.
Okay,
full stop.
No, thank you very much. And on that full stop note, I want to say again, thank you. Thank you for joining us. All right, so we don't have much time. So, all right, we'll talk again, Nana Obribuahin. It has been an exciting conversation. I can only imagine that we have at least two of such lawyers with us to argue out their case. I am not a lawyer, and so we'll leave it at that. We've heard both sides. They've made strong arguments, and we are beginning to wrap up this morning's program. Before we go, the NDC has suspended Koku Anyidoho. In simple terms, the party believes that its utterances is not only undermining the party, but sowing seeds of division. Briefly, how did you receive the news when the statement came out yesterday?
Yeah, Mike, before I even get to that, I think Mr. Obribuahin is not being factual in the sense that if he says he who alleged must prove, it's true. He who alleged must prove. Our allegation is that what the EC chairperson did was unconstitutional in the sense that on the night, the figure that she used to declare President Nana Addo as the president-elect has been admitted by herself and everybody as wrong. Okay. And then after that, they've seen about 5 different figures. I wanted you to ask Mr. Obribuahin that, so on which figure was Nana Addo declared as the winner? So that we see
I missed it, but I'm sure those watching us can
in the
30 seconds.
In the case of Mr. Koku Anyidoho, who is a senior comrade of mine, a very good friend of mine, somebody I look up to in terms of his work and everything, I think that it's been long. This has been long overdue. Okay. This thing should have been done long before. Okay. For me, but the problem I have with the suspension is the timing, especially when he's decided to sue one of our guys, the NDC guys, for some utterances or some posts about him and all that. I feel that it makes the thing smacks of some, like, because of that, that's why they are doing that. Okay. But
the party
his utterances.
What I know is that the party says they have received two petitions. I saw those petitions about 3 weeks ago.
And then OT communications.
So that I'll go by what the party says.
Yeah, I'm fine. I'm just saying that the suspension, for me, I think those petitions didn't just come now.
Okay, so it was coincidental.
It just became coincidental.
Unfortunately, we don't have much time. So I've been doing this with Eugene Ishen Elliott. He's a political researcher. And we are grateful. Short notice, you were able to make it. Dr. Ali Diseidu, good morning. And then we hope that you are solving the problem that made it difficult for you to join us. We are also grateful to lawyer Edwazita Makolo and lawyer Obribuahin, who also made the latter part of our conversation quite exciting. We'll be taking a break. When we come back, Irabana will present some few text messages that have come in, and then we end this morning's show.
peace of mind is very essential in your journey to success. For Akwesi Papa, peace of mind means having a proper covering over his family. Literally. For Araba, aka Injection Mama, it's about having the funds to complete her advanced nursing course. And as for Corporal Odami, it's as simple as reporting on time for his shifts. Sometimes all you need is a simple push. At Needs Microfinance, we have tailor-made loan packages for salaried workers under the Controller General's Department. With the low interest rate and quick wahala-free process, you are guaranteed of a timely solution to get back that peace of mind, literally in 30 minutes. Needs Microfinance. Growing with you.
Thanks for staying with us. This morning update is about to wrap up. Nana Abena has joined us. I have a few of the text messages. Unfortunately, Nano Bribuahene took much of your time. I apologize for it, but I'll do a few ones that are here with us. This one says, in fact, the so-called chairperson must be held accountable in the witness box through cross-examination. I think the summary of it is what I've read. This is Sakib from Ofuase Ayeribi constituency. This one says, the master ran away from debate. Now the servant is also running away from cross-examination. Asanko in Santa Maria. This one says, from DJ Omanle and Wayosi in Go. So, and then you say nothing good will come out from the Mahama petition. This one saying from Musa Abatwa in Kumasi, all the three witnesses of the petitioners so far have questioned Gina Dukwe-Mensah's integrity and the lack of transparency. So it is only fair for Ghanaians and the world at large to know the truth and of whether she discharged the duty arbitrarily or capriciously. Why is she running away? And this is from Musa Abatwa in Kumasi. Thank you very much for staying with us. Tomorrow is Thursday. The Supreme Court obviously will resume sitting. I'm sure tomorrow we'll also bring you excerpts of the vetting processes that will take place today. Nana Abena.
Yeah, and also tomorrow, Obobia would come your way with certain motivational or inspirational messages if you would like. Like Eric said, this has been the morning update on TVXYZ. My name is Nana Abena. So I'll see you same time tomorrow at 6:30 a.m.